I guess we'll start the rounds. So I am really curious. How are you guys doing since I haven't seen you in a week or two? So I don't have any crazy questions as normal, but I guess the question that could be kind of fun is, do you have any resolutions? And do you believe that there is a point in making them? I will start and model. So yeah, I'm still in Canada now. Holidays were awesome. It was like the best Christmas I ever had. It was so bountiful and cozy, and it was a white Christmas. And we played the mystery dinner theater game on New Year's Eve where you're like act out a character and somebody's the murderer, and that was really fun. And played some Mario Kart and just zoned out and started exercising actually during the most time of the year. Resolutions, I never really make resolutions, but I'm curious to hear about everybody. So, Sam, tell me about your holiday, and did you make any resolutions, and do you believe there's like a point to making resolutions for the new year?
Hello. Holidays were very fine, and I kind of needed some time to be for myself. But I don't usually do any resolution. For me, 1st of January is like any other day. And when I want to, but I think that having resolutions is very important. Normally, when I want to change something, I do a resolution, but I don't wait until 1st of January to begin. I just begin with them. For this year, I think that I have some resolutions. I would like to build a community in my village. It is the first steward of the community in a common house here that we have rented, and the idea is to bring ever more people and build something together, and quite let's try that it's as much interesting as possible. I will pass it to Tonga.
Sorry. Hey, thank you. Yeah, I've been missing all of you. I haven't been doing much related to TC, just reading everything, and yeah, doing sports and smoking weed, and yeah, learning Aragonese, but it's so big, so it's taking forever. So not much more to say. I'll pass it on to Durgalas.
Hi, I just dropped in.
Hey, welcome. How you doing? The question is, how are you doing? And holidays, and then if you made any resolutions or what you think about resolutions. Like, is it worth it, or how do we change something that is maybe difficult?
Well, yeah, I mean, I had a really good holiday. I rested quite a lot, and I really needed it because I'd been going gung ho for quite a long time. And as far as yeah, I'm actually doing a water fast for 2 weeks. So I guess that's my resolution. Um, uh, but on the other hand, I feel like yeah, resolution should come, not only at the beginning of the year or whatever, but you should be constantly trying to figure out what excites you and what opportunities can come. And so for me, I feel like it's kind of an ongoing process more than something that I do on the calendar. I don't know who to pass it to because I don't know who's here. I just got here 5 seconds ago.
Okay. I'll pass it for you to Nate. How you doing, Nate? Oh, I like your moons back there.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing really well. It's good to take a little break and talk with family and spend time with people. And it was just a nice, good New Year's and Christmas and holidays or whatever you celebrate. I think that resolutions are really important. I never make resolutions for myself, either because I forget or nothing really points out to me that much. But this year I did make 2 of them. The first one is a behavioral resolution, and that is to stop paying attention to the national news, just because it kind of shapes everything in a lot of ways, especially here in the United States. And so trying to stay away from that as much as I can this year. And the second one is to get my community DAO off the ground. So it's a project that I've been working on for a couple years now, and I'm trying to get that going, and I hopefully get it done this year. So yeah, I guess I will pass it to Mateo.
Hey guys, Happy New Year. Well, my holidays, it was really cool with family. Drank too much alcohol that I like to admit. But yeah, for resolutions, I don't really believe in them for the new year because in my personal life, I try to make goals constantly, monthly, even yearly, or some kind of medium long term. So, but yeah, in the change, in the coming of a new year, it's also a good excuse to make something up to as a resolution. So this time I chose to read more books and start meditating because those are 2 things that I have like postponed so much time, and I think right now is the right moment because I feel I need it. My resolutions are mostly biased for a need to change in my life. So I think that's a change that I need right now, and happens to be January. And for the one of reading more books, I'm gonna take a recommendation from Sam that he mentioned about *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind* that I'm going to start reading. I guess he has it. Yeah, there he is. So yeah, I'm gonna start reading that book. I read already the first chapter, and it's really cool. So I also recommend it on even if I'm not even finished. Sam gives the props. So yeah. So yeah, I'll pass it to, I'm not sure, Olivia.
Hey, thanks. I think I'm a big fan of rituals, and I usually have them going. I do a new moon practice every new moon, and it happened that this New Year's was a full moon, so I didn't do a New Year's resolution because I did in the new moon before the turn. And yeah, that's it for me. And I'll pass to Santi.
Hello, everyone. I guess my first resolution was that I had a nice haircut. I needed it. And so Christmas time was easygoing this year. No family reunions or anything. We just home. Actually, tomorrow is the last day of holidays here in Spain. If you have kids, because presents on the 6th. But since our kid is older, we're not gonna do too much tomorrow either. And I relaxed, which was good also. And resolutions, we sometimes do the resolutions after New Year's Eve at 12 o'clock, after we have 12 raisins that you have to eat on every bell of the clock. And so my resolutions for this year was to try to launch 1 or 2 of the projects that I have in mind in crypto during the year. And I think Griff is missing. I'll pass it to Griff.
Yeah. Let's see. My New Year's resolution was to, I didn't hear the beginning question, but my New Year's resolution was to be better at giving and receiving feedback and practice that at least, for the first couple of months. I kind of like Livia's thing. It's like, man, a resolution was a whole year? That's ridiculous. A month, okay? Work on it for a month, and by the end of the month, I better be done. Although I really like Santi's resolutions, I'd like to launch a few projects myself. So TEC being probably the biggest one. So I think that's a great resolution. Was there any other questions?
How, like, if you wanted to share anything from the holidays, and you already answered the resolution. That was pretty much just like a general, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, no,
you're still in Ecuador.
Yeah, still in Ecuador and still enjoying. It's it's Southern Hemisphere, so it's summer here, so it's very nice. And I will pass it to, I don't know who to pass it to.
Tamra.
So I had a great end of the year and a great start to the year. So I'm feeling very good about all of that. For resolutions, I'm also on the don't believe in resolutions team, but believe in continuous development. So I think it was Durgadas who says sort of like evolution over the course of the year. And other people too. I think that having, financial goals, health goals, professional goals, hobby goals, are important, and that they can change over the course of the year. And I keep a Google document that has all of my goals broken down into category, and I look at it every quarter, but I try to plan it for the whole year. And sometimes things shift, but there should always be some fun in there too. And last year, my goal was to become a better poker player in my fun category. And it's going to be the same goal this year because it was really fun to do, to learn to play. I'm going to pass it back to you guys.
Hey, Zeptimus.
Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. For me, holidays were pretty chill with family, and I'm very excited for 2021. I'm here in the house with Sam, and that's going to be very, very fun. I'll pass it to Dan.
Oh, Dan sometimes struggles with his internet. Dan, if you can hit us.
Oh,
Yay.
Yay. Yeah, I didn't hear. I don't know. It's kind of eluded me. Anyway, hey. So, yeah, holidays were fun. I wanted to work, but I had 1 year without seeing my mother. So, yeah, that didn't happen. Resolutions, yeah, it's just about continuous upgrades. So I guess I now have this idea of approaching my life maybe not a fully a sprint, but yeah, kind of if I'm better, I do better work. So that's the logic right now in this couple of months, and just working towards the biggest goals that I had. This idea of massive transformative purpose and whatnot. I'll pass it to Craig.
Oh, Happy New Year. Yeah, I'm on the resolution team, continuously doing things. Yeah, I have some projects I'd like to launch, and like a lot of people, and I'm doing that. And I guess if I had to say one thing, I would really like to try to sleep more. That's all. I'm not sure who's next. Ready?
I think everybody went.
I had to refresh. Can everybody? Is it? I can't hear. Is it just me? Can somebody else talk for a second? Because I'm not sure.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure. I couldn't. It froze, and then I couldn't hear anything. Okay, I'm so sorry, Craig. Were you able to finish? I wasn't able to hear you, so I had to refresh. Okay. I missed you, Craig. You'll have to catch me up. And anyway, I thought we would sync this week. Thanks everybody for sharing. That was really cool to hear. And yeah, I was having this thought in my meditation the other day, or just kind of more like a visual of like how little things, like you can't change, like how hard it is to change something really big all at once. And it's just like these little fractals. Like if you change one tiny little thing. So yeah, I was chatting to Livy also about virtual workouts. So if anybody wants to start like a TEC virtual workout, or maybe we can have a little channel for like, you know, I don't know, healthy living or something. I kept thinking that about like taking off screen time, but also I was going to share some workout videos with Livy that I've been doing on YouTube. And I thought maybe we could do like a virtual workout. So anyway, tuck that away for later, and maybe, well, that could be funny on the weekend or something. Just I'll have our videos on. So just about trying to get the bearings going forward of comms. I feel I also needed a break, like Sam said. But now coming back, like I felt like there were a lot of blockers for some time, like with the whole legal thing, and now that like now we know what people will need to do to become a hatcher. Once this vote is complete, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I guess just kind of some sense making in the best ways to move forward, and then also how everybody here, like, what is your ability to contribute, and if it's just like come to the calls and help us with like, you know, feedback and reflecting and ideas and brainstorming, or if going forward you're interested to take on writing, or if you want to work more closely on these projects, just kind of let me know where you're at. But for this meeting, and what I think these meetings are best for, is the stuff we need like the collective intelligence on and the feedback. So I just wanted to share kind of what happened. There were a couple of pieces that went out over the holidays. If you didn't see yet, there was the legal post from Santi that was explaining this vote. So there is a vote going on right now. If you hadn't had a chance to vote, please go have a look. I can share my screen. I'll just share a couple of things of like what's happened. And then we had a big meeting yesterday, a joint comms meeting with the Common Stack to discuss and kind of brainstorm around what are the content pieces and stories that we need to tell leading up to the hatch, and some of the pieces that might be interesting from like a governance perspective, and other things we can share that have a little wider application. It's just like join the TEC in the hatch, like to have some ideas and produce some other pieces. And then, yeah, so I guess I'll start. And then Sem is here and wanted to chat about the onboarding video that's going to be for the app, like the hatch front end and the onboarding video that everybody's going to see when they come. So just wanting to like kick that off and talk about that a bit. I'm the rundown of what I think we can address today. We also wanted to chat a little bit about the communications surrounding community votes, because we shifted in the SoftGov part of it, but we didn't really talk about how best to communicate to let people know about the votes. So just aligning a bit on that. That shouldn't take too long. And then, yeah, there are a couple of other small items. So I guess we will jump in. And I think the quickest one I'll start with is, okay, so let me share my screen. Oop. Okay, so over the break, there was the legal strategy proposal and vote. So basically, you know, Santi, who's leading the working group, came back and said the recommendation from the lawyers was that we are more protected if we use the Common Stack Swiss Association nonprofit. So this post outlines like what are the steps that the TEC is taking to mitigate the legal risks and about this recommendation, and then the vote. So if you want to have a look and go vote on that. And then also there was just the news piece and Praise Quant blog that came out. If you haven't had a chance, it was a fun one. Craig and Griff worked on that one. That was really cool. Hold on a second. I should have pulled this up before the call. And then the other thing that went out over the holiday was what kind of proposals do we want to fund? Oops. I go here. There we go. TEC funding proposals, what kind of projects should apply? So this is like starting to help us flesh out the discussion around what are TE public goods, what does the community want to fund. So this is a pretty important piece that I finally was able to finish over holiday. So have a look at that, and if you have any feedback. We also were thinking about turning this into a blog post, which I'll share in just a minute. Oops. Okay. So I guess the first thing, since we're on the topic of the legal post, was, so in case you're not familiar, we were originally doing emoji voting on the Discord, but then the SoftGov moved that to our forum. So I just wanted to open it up. Olivia, we kind of had a few back and forths in a Telegram channel, but what is the best way to get people to engage in the voting communications wise? So we are going to be splitting the proposal section is going to be split into the funding proposals, which is the projects we're going to fund, the community proposals, which is the votes, and there's going to be a discussion in, I think, SoftGov, Olivia, more about like what goes into where. And then there's going to be a third layer, which, sorry, it's escaping me right now, but Olivia, if you just want to chat about that a little bit, and just we can get a few bits of feedback about how we think is the best way to communicate and also get engagement. So we had discussed like maybe announcing these votes on the Thursday community calls, holding the vote over the weekend, and then closing it on Sunday or Monday. So what do you guys think about best way to get people to engage with voting?
Yeah, so what we were doing since the beginning was that we set a time frame for a voting session. So it would happen always during the weekend. So people always knew that like Friday was the time to go look for votes if there was anything up in the voting channel. And after some feedback we had in the SoftGov call a couple of weeks ago, I think it's still like a nice practice to keep. So there is some type of a ritual surrounding voting. But then it doesn't mean that people can't post whenever. It's just that we know that the weekends should be like a decision should be made until Monday. And then on Monday they are shared and released. And then the idea was to separate in the voting channel for 3 types of voting: for conviction voting, for dandelion voting, and for forum posts voting polls. And I think this is just the thing we have to decide. How are we gonna separate them? If we talked about this a few times, but I don't think we made a decision yet. Maybe this is the case of making a poll in the forum and see what comes up. I could do that if it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess we just need to say Eduardo to like separate the proposal section. We pretty much made that decision, I guess. I guess my main question too was like, I just had seen, Griff, you put this Praise Quant update and proposals, and I saw it on the forum, but I didn't see it. Like, are we still posting in the Discord voting channel? I noticed we did that for legal, but we didn't do it for this one. And is this like an official vote, or was this just like collecting a bit of feedback? I guess maybe just letting everybody know what's the process. Like, you want to submit something for a vote, so maybe like what where do we host this information and how do we communicate this? Like anyone can submit a proposal to get voting or feedback or signaling from the community. So it's just a matter of once we fix this proposal section, which should be easy. So we can get on that with Eduardo this week, but more so like they submit the forum post and then they post it in the voting channel. I just think it's not like super clear, I guess, how one does this since we moved the voting to the forum. So I guess my question is, how can I help Livia? And also if anybody else had any feedback on the best way to communicate and get people to engage with this as well. If anyone has any thoughts or...
So I was just going to add a little thought to that because I know I had a back and forth with Griff with the legal strategy vote on the forum, and I think that when it comes to especially soft gov decisions, it's really difficult for the voter themselves. I didn't vote in that because I just don't have enough information in terms of the grand scheme of things of what's being done. And I think that comes down to a lot of people and why they're reluctant to vote is because of that lack of communication about things that are kind of outside the purview of what has been given. But with that being said, I think that's a way for voters to actually signal, hey, we want more information, or hey, we want to delay this vote for, a week while we gather that information. I think it would be really good. And if you had consistency between your Discord and your forum as far as the options when voting, I think is really important. So just throwing my 2 cents in there.
Well, that's really great feedback, just to have like a way to signal. So maybe adding to the poll, like, I need more info or don't have enough info to vote, or asking for more time to extend the vote. So I think this is probably more of a soft gov conversation, but I guess it's a bit linked with like communication. So that's good feedback, Nate. Okay, so Olivia, did you want to add anything? Or I feel like maybe this is more of a soft gov chat, but I guess obviously the communications is important for this, like how we...
I think Sam wants to say something.
I just wanted to add that reminds me that the ACP process in Aragon, the Aragon governance proposals or something like that, was a very structured process in which people were not just voting on the DAO. There was a very specific protocol on what kind of things could be voted, and there was a review of the votes before they were ready. I think that as we progress into having a DAO that manages a lot of different proposals, we probably will want to have something like that, in which we can process and communicate properly each one of the votes and not just throw them and expect that people know what they are about. I just listening to you, Nate, I think that it's probably something that most of the people are going to have if we don't do a process like that, in which we process very well the proposals so they can be explained very well or something like that. It's like, because sometimes it's not just doing a proposal, but it's also understanding which are the consequences, the rest of the proposals, the entire organization. In Aragon, it was Aragon Association who was doing that. I don't know if it's a very different case in DEC. But probably we also want to look out other DAOs are dealing with this kind of with proposals. Probably it's not just if it's a proposal that is changing something, for example, dandelion votings, we probably want to explain very well what we are doing and why, and gather feedback before we do changes. And probably to depend on each proposal.
Oh, it's a good thought. Yeah, I think that's actually where moving to the forum came from, was another DAO. Like we had seen that at another DAO, but maybe just doing a little bit of research. Would it be helpful maybe to like, I just had a thought of, what if we had somebody explaining in like a 1 minute or 2 minutes video, just like, hey, very simple, whether it's Livy as SoftGov doing everyone, or whether it's the person submitting the proposal that we ask, like, hey, can you jump on and explain, like Santi, you could, you know, or whoever, or comms, like anybody. Maybe this could be something to try to see if this like gets more engagement. If we had a video, like if Nate Cumming, that's new, like has no context on anything, and then comes in, and rather than just like seeing this post like, oh, I don't know what all this shit is, to just have a person, it's so fast to record a video, just, hey, we're holding a vote on legal thing, and you know, the legal working group is coming and recommending this because boom, boom, boom. I mean, maybe we could try it and see if there's more engagement, if people are willing to put their face on it and record a little. What do you think, Santi?
I think that we have two issues here, especially on complicated votes on legal or the one on the DAO that we had a few weeks before Christmas. One is explaining very well what the vote is about, and another one, letting everyone know the day or the time or the moment that they are going to be able to hear explaining us that and answering questions. Because the problem is that we may explain it one day, but they may not be aware that that's the day that they can come and listen, or they are not there, or they don't get the information telling them that they can come. So making a video, I think it's great because it's asynchronous. They have the video there, and they can get on a couple of minutes or 5 minutes whenever they want. They can listen it again if they don't understand a specific concept. And I think that probably having some time during the week, maybe, I don't know if that's a task of SoftGov or comms or both, or I don't know, we have to decide that, but probably some time of the week where we can use some time to explain, especially those specific proposals that are not easy to understand for those that are not so deep into the project. And everyone knows that Tuesday, 6 p.m., you know, there's going to be, you know, the explanation of the votes, and before that you can watch the videos, or after that you can watch the video if you cannot make it for Tuesday, you know. But everyone knows that there is this proposal that just came out. I know that I don't understand it. I can't go on Tuesday because they are going to be explaining it on Tuesday, you know. So I think that protocol that Sam was mentioning, it's very important, because otherwise, at the end of the day, it's just us creating the proposals and us voting the proposals, which doesn't have too much sense. You know, most of us, maybe you are not aware of everything, but most of the work that's being done, most of us know what's going on. Some specific things we may not, but we are used to reach out to this one or that one and request for an answer. The problem is the people that's beyond this circle, beyond this bubble, and that they are not so deeply into what's going on and the process that we're building. And now that I'm listening to you, and I was working on that document with you, Jess, and with Griff, and now I try to put myself into the skin of Nate, reading that document, which was much, much shorter than what it is. And I cannot imagine myself voting that without asking questions. Okay, and that's completely true. You know, so I think we have to find a way to better explain and better to communicate and let everyone know when we're going to explain and which materials they can go on to understand this proposal and that proposal.
That's great. Yeah, I think this is really good discovery, like this discussion, because there's, always low voter turnout in Dallas. It's like 3% or something like this. So I think, we're not the only ones facing this issue, but all this feedback is helpful to like explore. And I think, when we have a token, maybe people will be more apt to vote because it hits them in the wallet and it affects them in a very, direct way. Whereas now it's still kind of new. But yeah, this is our chance to maybe explore. So Olivia, we can look at maybe how to improve this together, and try some of these different things, having a video, or maybe we dedicate some time in the week, as you're saying, Santi, to take questions, or even if maybe Livia, you can interview whoever is submitting the proposal, for just record a little thing, Zep, you guys just 5 minutes, and ask the person to explain it in 1 minute, and then ask a few questions, and then say, if you have questions, we could just try a few different things and see what works, but try not to let it suck up too much energy that we put into it, but just maybe slowly do a few, what do you call it, MVPs, or test some different things and just look at the numbers, if we get more engagement, or try to be a bit data, the scientific approach, look at if the voting goes up, numbers, or okay, cool.
I want to add something.
Sure, Tam.
I really like everything I've heard. I love the idea of us having a more structured process for proposals. The two comments I have, the first one is that the idea of having a proposal day where we release proposals on a day really resonates with me, because I would find it easier to manage knowing when to check for proposals and knowing what's expected of me, really, versus coming back and checking sporadically. So I really like the idea there being a proposal release date, but that's my opinion. And then for the, and what was the other part? Oh yeah, I find a lot of the proposals that we've had so far, some of them really, I think it's really difficult to explain if you're not deep in the details of the proposals. So it's not surprising that there's not a lot of votes. Even myself, before I voted, and I'm pretty deep in a lot of these subjects, and I even had to sort of think and look at other documents, and it took me a little time to vote personally. So I can certainly understand Nate's perspective as sort of coming in with fresh eyes and not and hesitating to vote because not being aware of what the consequences would be. I think we're going to come up against that just naturally because of the context can be very difficult to explain too. So yeah, that's just a comment.
Cool. That's really helpful. Libby, last thought.
I just want to, last thought, I'm trying to organize things into action items that are things that have been floating around, but I guess they didn't materialize yet. One, for what Santi was talking about, perhaps we could have office hours that we talked about before the break, how those onboarding sessions were great, having a 30-minute per week to welcome new members, and maybe there could be a focus on proposals. There could be a day, 30 minutes for new members in general, a touch base, and then another day for other 30 minutes of let's review the proposals, AMA around proposals. And then I think we need a lot of what's been mentioned. I think it would be quite solved if the advice process was more integrated. But I think this transition to the forum made it difficult. So I think having these channels separated, I don't know if it would make sense to have one channel just for sharing the proposals before they are ready, and another one just for like the vote, the specific for voting. I know it was mentioned that having too many channels might be more confusing than helpful, but then maybe not. I don't know, like having something with a title that explains very easy, like this is for pre-proposals. This is proposals that are ready to vote. Like something very obvious, and like maybe we could do that in the forum. If
You
it
can
makes
change the
sense.
category of. Actually, I think that it is important to keep one topic in one thread, but you can also change the category of a forum post. So you can have a category for pre-proposals, and the proposals that are ready to vote, change their category. So you have still everything ordered. Maybe that could help.
That's a good idea, yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna ask that we move on to the next topic just because we still have quite some big things to talk about, but I think this is great discussion and we can continue to like process this into more action, as Livia is saying, but even it could be a simple solution like some suggested, so we can explore further, but very helpful. I think this is going to continue to be like a refining process, like how do we get more engagement and how can we be more clear in communicating about these proposals and especially the complex ones. So cool. So the next thing I wanted to share, and that I'm trying to reserve at least 10 minutes to talk about the onboarding video at the end, but I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes just showing some things that we went over yesterday. And then also I wanted to ask a few questions to Dan while he's here and get a little bit of feedback in the next 5 minutes. So yesterday we did this exercise that Jeff led us through, and we were looking at, we were just talking about, you know, separating the TEC and the common stack narratives because they are separate. And, you know, the TEC is asking to use the trusted seed and the association to protect the members for the hatch. So we spent some time also brainstorming pieces, content pieces. So just kind of share. And then if anybody is interested in working on any of these, just reach out. We're going to start kind of looking at who wants to write what. So if anybody, if you're interested in writing or supporting with actual content pieces, and just to let you know kind of what's coming up. The first thing is after the vote, we'll be writing about that, like what happened. And if, you know, the TEC is choosing to go this route, that is the recommendation. Otherwise, we won't have a hatch pretty much. So announcing the legal vote, and then if that is a yes, we'll do a piece on becoming a hatcher and like kind of getting ready for that and what that means and how you would then join the association and what that involves. And that's somewhat dependent upon some stuff happening in the common stack. And then we want to talk a little bit more, and hopefully this will align with you, Libby. We're looking at the mission and vision again and kind of revisiting that and why are we here? Because I think it gets lost a lot, like in the how. Agree with Griff on that. He was saying that the other day, and just remembering like, why are we really doing this? It's not because we love doing admin DAO, but here because we want to fund these tools and templates that communities can use to coordinate to self-fund and self-govern. So refocusing on our mission and why we're here, why TE public goods are important and kind of tying that in again with like what we're going to fund. And then a TLDR about the parameters, because there's so many parameters, it's really a lot. So making a little kind of digest, and it's actually really a huge value that the TEC has created. Jake's not here, but you know, Jake put in a lot of work. There's a huge value because a lot of DAOs and other communities are coming to the common stack and looking at they're looking at the TEC as an example of, you know, choosing these different parameters, and hopefully soon we'll have the models to back that. Also, there's like a really cool article we can do on governance. We were just discussing, you know, what are our different layers of governance? We have the funding proposals and conviction voting, we have Dandelion, and we have this kind of community polling for smaller decisions. So sharing this with other communities, this is a TE public good in itself. like a model for polycentric governance, because there's not just one way to govern. We have to have these, different pieces to settle these different questions that come up. I think, Livia, you were really interested. We can work on that. And yeah, and then eventually it's going to be like the onboarding, the hatchers, and those materials. And then we had some other ideas about more on how to contribute to the TEC, maybe making this more clear and making some of the forum posts into blogs. So yeah, I just wanted to show you all kind of what is on the board, and I'm going to share this link with everybody in the comms channel. And since we just have a little bit of time left and want to focus a bit to get feedback on the video and why Sem is joining us today. But yeah, I will share this link with you all. And if you have any ideas that you want to add to the board on what you think we should have as content pieces coming up, the focus is obviously, the priority is what's critical to hatch, but would love to take any other ideas and ask if people are excited to write about things or to share ideas, what you think about that. So I'll be sharing that with you. And then the last 1 or 2 minutes here, Dan, I just wanted to ask you, I'm going to check with Chris of what's the status of the new Discord, and maybe in our next meeting, I want to ask you all when you think that should happen. Like, when should we be releasing the new Discord? And then I just wanted to take a second, Craig and Dan, I'm kind of hoping for the whole CRM email thingy, like to be able to communicate with all of our members. Email is still a really important tool. So Dan, did you have any update on, and Craig, do you have some thoughts around, getting this kind of back-end comm set up with a CRM, or having like emails of everybody so we can do kind of campaigns and send out articles and information?
Yeah, yes. So basically, Chris and I, we had to have like a session to define the migration from MailChimp to Hotspot. So that's the main thing. Just how we're going to handle the data. Is there anything in particular that it's on MailChimp that it could be useful for Hotspot? But that's mostly on the Commons Stack side. For TEC, I guess the scoping should be something like, we could use just the data from the trusted seed applicants, but we just need to define what data. And from there, we can just simply prepare the CRM on top of that, and just running pipeline for partners in there and stuff like that. It's not that difficult to do. But yes, just me and Chris, we will have that work session from that side. Just the handling of the data, I think is something that, I don't know if it's something to discuss at some point outside of this scoping. I don't know if Griff, you have any opinions on using the data from TS applicants, because we could just work from there instead of waiting for the migration or coming to Stack.
It becomes a challenge because we agree not to give that data out to third parties. So it's one of those like, wait, is the TEC a third party? I guess so, right? So even though it doesn't have I don't know. So it's one of these things where if there's a communication that they want CStack token holders to hear or trusted seed applicants, then I think the common stack would technically need to be the one sending it. And then TEC might need to figure out how to collect the emails. But I feel like that would be the most authentic and high integrity way to handle that. But I don't know. I think TEC needs to find a way to collect this information.
Yeah, do we from the TEC, do we have what is the most complete database of the people that are engaging with it? So maybe, I don't know, I can do some correlation of the data and kind of tags and just export the data of the people that have kind of agreed to be messaged by the TEC already. Or maybe it's just like I don't know. The other perspective is just kind of like approaching the people and giving them the option to opt in to communications with the TEC directly. So yeah, I mean, so yeah. So
That would
that's
be
all.
that would be a good one, right? Sending an email or to everyone and just saying, hey, is it cool if we start sending you TEC emails? Say yes or no or something like that. That might be a big for your buck.
What do you think, Jess? From that perspective, maybe we don't have to fully wait for the migration. It will just be like updating the latest data on MailChimp. I'm locked out of MailChimp right now, but that's just me talking with Chris and solving that. And I could just send those emails even today if I have that call today. Preparing the comms, that's something we can do with Chris as well.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss this in the channels. Like, I think, I mean, we can just like have some further chats about how we manage the data and such, and maybe discuss it in the stewards call or something tomorrow. Like, how are we gonna? I don't know. We'll find a place for that. I feel like that's a bit of a discussion, I suppose. So yeah, okay. Thanks for the update and thoughts. I guess we kind of just need to make a whole like focus chat on how we're gonna handle the data and what we want to do with that. So I will table that and put a note that we kind of need to start to move those pieces. And then yeah, for the last 6 minutes, I wanted to spend a little time on brainstorming around the video, and I just realized it probably would be good. I love Miro, but I'm not as good at using it as others. So I put a link in the comms channel, kind of narratives board on Miro if you go to the comms channel. And I know we only have a few minutes left, so I just put these stickies at the bottom. I'm still figuring out how to use this. Okay. I should have asked for your help, Libby. Hey. Or Jeff. Oops. I am just going to put a sticky note.
I actually just brought a little forum post in the forum. Maybe we can do the feedback gathering in it, as we only have 5 minutes. Maybe it's better if we could I have those 5 minutes so I can explain the idea behind the video, and maybe it's easier for us to gather the feedback as forum posts, because with 5 minutes I guess that we are not going to be able to have the feedback in this call. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just seeing this. So you put up this forum post. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the idea that my idea of what could be a very good Hatch video is a very short video, like kind of manifesto video or something that gives a lot of hype, and keeping it short, like something that is more elaborated. My big question here is, I am putting 3 examples of very good videos made by very professional teams that used to do these kind of things. I think that we don't have people. Sorry, there is some noise outside. I think that probably we cannot get that much quality, but they are very good sources of reference for inspiration. And the tweak here could be to do it as a DAO, in which we have multiple voices and we speak as a DAO on why it is important to have token engineering. And if we could do some voice effects in which it turn our voices into robots or whatever the narrative on TEC is, I am still not sure yet, but maybe you just took some time to read more robotics and to have some narrative on robots. maybe we can do our voices a little bit robotic at some point as we merge them, or I don't know. The thing is that I am missing is I don't know if we want to dedicate a lot of work on that, and who is going to dedicate that much amount of time into doing something like that, or if we want to go to something much more simple. I think that it's a project that can take some weeks, and we also need to set up a deadline that we need the video for for that moment, and that's very important, because if not, we cannot do the hatch. But I also think that it could be very interesting in order to have kind of initial manifesto of the DAO that we together can read and act on a video. And I wanted to hear some if things, new ideas, and also if you think that it's feasible, or we should cut off and do something else.
Well, yeah, we're at the top of the hour. I'm sorry, I should have allotted some more time for this, and also this is the first meeting back after being off, so it was a little more challenging, I think, to get through some of the things, and maybe we took a little too long on the voting. But yeah, I love that you just put this post up if anybody has any ideas. And we have a call today, Sam, so we can chat a little bit about some of these ideas and what is feasible and what is not based on the resources. But yeah, maybe we can dedicate some more time next week and do some more, like, I can prepare a mural board, or like I kind of have some ideas, and yeah, feasibility wise, where maybe we can't do something as flashy, but yeah, we'll find something. But if anybody has any thoughts for now, meantime, you can go to this forum post, and then yeah, we'll have to break now. But also, Olivia, I know SoftGov is now, but I realized that I scheduled a narratives meeting with Durgadas, so I'm gonna check on that. We were supposed to have that now, so I'm gonna check with him. But yeah, thanks everybody. Sorry we're tight to the hour to manage all the things, but I appreciate all the feedback. I think this was a really good call for discovery and kind of going forward in a few different directions. So thanks very much.